Hey, deserving listeners, 90-Day Fiancé, let's watch. My name is Dr. Kirk Honda. I'm a therapist and a professor. As I always say, since this is a psychology YouTube channel, everything we get into could be triggering. I usually try to provide some extra trigger warning when I think something will be particularly triggering. But really, everything we talk about could be triggering in some way to you. So be careful, watch with care, talk with your therapist. Let's watch.
It's not
But he
professional.
was actually, having sex with her?
Yes,
Oh my God.
No, I'm not jealous, like, oh, don't leave me. I was just say, be honest. If you want to be with her, you can. You like.
Yeah, we heard about this earlier in the season, I believe, the same situation. And he's having that same smirk again, which I don't know what that's about. Is he just nervous? Is it something else? I don't know. But they were talking earlier about how she has a double standard, that she requires that she is able to see his texts, and she's invasive in that way. And they were essentially criticizing, the crowd was, because she is overly jealous and controlling. And then she revealed that, well, in the beginning of a relationship, he cheated on me. And I think what he was saying earlier in the season was, well, so my guess is what happened based on his description was that he gave Thaís the impression that they were boyfriend-girlfriend and committed and would not be with other people. He either gave her the impression or maybe even was explicit, but then later, it's not uncommon for people to do this, and it really is deplorable, that you'll be dating someone, you will either give a very firm impression that you're committing and you're in an exclusive relationship, or you even literally say, yeah, we're in a committed exclusive relationship. And then time goes on, maybe a few months, circumstances change, but the Patricks of the world think, well, surely we're not in an exclusive relationship anymore, so I'm going to start dating other people. Or if it comes up, I'll explore that option if I'm drunk or whatever. But I don't want to lose the possibility of getting back together with Thaís, and so I can't tell Thaís that things are no longer exclusive, because Thaís would break up with me because of that, because she doesn't want to be in a relationship that isn't exclusive, or I might hurt her feelings and I don't want to do that. So I'll just avoid the whole thing and I'll just see what happens. And then they're at a party, they get drunk and they get together with someone, they maybe start dating someone else. And all the while they never stop and think like, well, did I really wrap that up? Was I really clear with my past partner that the relationship is now over? And it happens often, and I find it to be immoral. It's immoral. If you stopped the Patricks of the world and said, is it reasonable that, or is it possible, even if it's not reasonable, do you think that Thaís believes that you're in an exclusive relationship? Patrick would probably say, a lot of the people in Patrick's position will say like, oh no, it'd be ridiculous for her to think that. Okay, but is it possible that she does believe that to be true? Well, she should believe that to be true. We haven't even talked in a few weeks, but is it possible that she believes it to be true? Well, yeah, it's possible. Did you clearly tell her recently that you are not in an exclusive relationship, that you will be dating or possibly dating other people? No, I haven't. But I shouldn't have to because okay. So it's possible, and you know it to be possible, and yet you're continuing to act as if that's not true. And so thus you are rolling the dice on the possibility that you are cheating in Thaís' mind, and you are thus lying by omission. And all you have to do is tell Thaís, I'm dating someone else now. I just thought I should let you know. I thought, and I'm guessing you might, just say that. And the fact that you're not saying that is absolutely lying by omission and is immoral, is wrong. Your kindergarten teacher taught you to treat others the way you want to be treated, and you learned that. You've been taught that many times, and you are not following that because what? You want to be selfish, you want to avoid, you don't want to have a difficult conversation, you don't want to grow up.
I freeze.
So you two were in a relationship. You and Patrick were in a relationship.
Yes.
Okay, he's shaking his head no.
Right, precisely. So according to her, they were in a relationship. According to him, they weren't. But you have to tell the person. We saw this with Darcy and with Tom, I believe. At least that was the storyline, and there's been other examples like this too. So, yeah. Could we imagine that Patrick would avoid that conversation? Yeah.
It was like after the first time we met.
You went to Brazil every month? You were talking with the girl like me here. You talk with the girl with your cell phone.
That was after.
And looking
That was the first time we were there.
On Instagram.
That was after the first trip.
After 8 months, we are together.
No,
you were looking Instagram.
There was no 8. I wasn't even 8. We were not together 8 months, and I was.
So they have clearly not recovered from the incident, and they are talking. So I've treated a lot of couples along these lines of infidelity recovery. Now maybe Patrick wouldn't frame it that way, but recovery from what happened, a trust incursion. And this is the conversation that I will hear when they emerge out of avoidance. So they, I think, avoid completely or deny, but clearly she still has a lot of hurt feelings, and it sneaks out in these other behaviors, like the double standard of being invasive with his phone and that sort of thing. It'd be better if she could just trust him and not have to invade his privacy in a way that bothers him. He doesn't seem to be that bothered by it, but a little bit. At the very least, it's a sign that she needs to recover and she needs to be able to trust him. And the way that he approaches it, he just he smiles a lot, like he got away with something, like he got caught with his hand in the cookie jar, and he's like, okay, you caught me. And that doesn't really make you feel good, right? You want to have a spouse that's just like, yeah, I know, I'm sorry, I should have told you, and I'm not proud of it. I was young and immature, and I'm just sorry. You know, it wouldn't be that hard for him to say something like that, right? Or I was confused. I thought I was clear, but clearly I wasn't, and I can see why you believed we were in an exclusive relationship. I should have been more clear. I said a couple things that I thought you would interpret that way, but you didn't, and that's my fault, and I'm sorry. And I didn't think I was cheating on you at the time, honestly. If you would have asked me, I would have said, no, we're basically broken up, me and Thaís. But I should have been more clear. You know, there's a lot of things he could be saying other than avoiding, minimizing, you're crazy, no, da-da-da. And earlier in the season, he was like, I just talked to someone. And then she's like, no, you didn't. You had sex with her. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, there's this one night when I got drunk and had sex with her. No, you didn't. It was multiple times you had sex. Oh, okay, fine. Yeah, that kind of reaction that almost all people who cheat will exhibit, not all, but most, is 90% of the trust incursion is that reaction, right? If he were right from the beginning and just say what I said earlier, just something like, yeah, I'm sorry, I was avoiding and I have a problem and I should have told you up front. I thought at the time both of us had enough reasons to believe the relationship between you and I was over, or at least that we could date other people. But looking back, I should not have assumed that. Maybe it's a cultural difference that I should have also been aware of. Because when I would date people in the States, if you don't talk to them for a while, it's just kind of assumed. But even there, I probably shouldn't assume that. And so, yeah, I'm sorry. If he just did that maybe a couple times, maybe 3 times, I'm guessing this whole thing would be over. But because of the way he reacts every time, minimizing, avoiding, lying further, then that gives her even more reasons to not trust him. Even when he does exhibit some maturity, which I don't know has happened, you would still not trust it because you have seen your partner do whatever they want to in order to avoid responsibility and to uphold lying, to try to trick you. And so it's upsetting. And so for her, I would say her reactivity, the jealousy and the monitoring and invasiveness is actually kind of low grade compared to what other people in her position would do, given what happened and given his reaction to her. And then he was saying that he didn't know that she was pregnant. She suspected she might be pregnant, and she didn't tell him. And she actually lied to him and said, you need to make a gynecologist appointment because of this other issue, even though she was really going to the gynecologist to check to see if she's pregnant. And then she talked with a friend, and the friend was even there maybe, and the friend knew, and then she found out she was pregnant, and the friend knew. And then later on, she tells Patrick, and Patrick was hurt by that and expressed that earlier in the tell-all, that she does this a lot, that she will not tell him things until she's absolutely sure. And we saw that exact same thing happen with her dad, that she didn't tell her dad about the wedding or the engagement until she was forced to, essentially, by Patrick. I mean, forced is pressured to. And what's that about? Well, it is probably fear-based, right? It's probably that she's afraid of upsetting someone. And so my hypothesis, I don't know, there's really no data other than those data points, is that when she was growing up, her dad would be harsh. And so she learned as a way of coping is to lie by omission or just lie straight out, because there's no sense in incurring abuse if you don't have to. So, you know, she would maybe be at school and she would get a bad grade. And it's just like, don't tell dad, maybe he'll never find out and I'll avoid being harmed in some way. Again, I have no data to back that up, but it's one of the pathways to that kind of behavior. And you could almost consider it a passive aggression as well, that she is angry at Patrick for various reasons and has learned to not address anger directly, but through hidden ways or passive ways. Passive aggression, a better term, is hidden hostility. Hostility that you feel justified in expressing, but don't feel safe enough to do so. Not that Patrick would harm her, but that she just has a template of like, I will get harmed if I express my hostility or my anger, and is lying to him by omission because she subconsciously or consciously knows that it's going to hurt his feelings, but can claim that she didn't directly do something hostile to him. So that's it in a nutshell. But again, there's no way to know that. But I think there's a strong possibility that she has a defense around don't talk with someone about something sensitive because bad things will happen, and thus she avoids too much. And then she actually, when it is revealed, there's a lot of hurt. Because you can imagine being her father and being really hurt that she wasn't going to tell him. That, you know, that'd be pretty. Now maybe he deserves it, I don't know. But at the very least for Patrick, he's just like, so for a long while you suspected you were pregnant and you just didn't even involve me. It can feel like you don't matter, right?
With her, training her.
But you were kissing the girl when you were still seeing Thaís.
Yeah, kind of. Like, it was the first trip.
Be honest.
It was the first trip.
Not
so it was
first trip, second trip.
I'm just saying, like, I don't think we're in a relationship at that point. It was a confusing time.
What was confusing?
Yeah, possibly. But if you were confused, okay. But tell Thaís. Tell people. I'm confused. I don't know if I'm in a relationship with you or not. I'm dating other people. It's not hard to just tell people that and own up to it.
And then this girl like wanted to come back, and then I was going back to Thaís, and so it was like there was no full commitment to Thaís yet, and there wasn't a commitment to her. It was like, you know, I was like a single dude dating.
Going to Brazil every month, dating me, having sex with me, and dating other girl.
Yeah, so there's that smirk again. I think it's just childishness that he hasn't grown out of. That's what a child will do when they're... I also think he might get some kind of ego boost. Like he thinks, yeah, I dated 2 ladies at the same time, and he gets a little giddy about that. We could certainly imagine him and his friends, his toxic masculine friends, having that kind of value system. So, yeah, if I were Thaís and I saw that smirk, I mean...
With the other girl and having sex at the same time?
No, I didn't have sex with her.
Jesus. Okay.
Patrick, wait, you just said you weren't having sex with the other girl?
No, I didn't have sex with her. There was a couple attempts to have sex, but like...
All right, so he talked about that. He was too drunk, he said. But I could have swore in that earlier part of the season he disclosed that he actually, or maybe she'd said that, yeah, there were some attempts during an intoxicated moment, but there were revisits to that when you were sober with that woman or other women or something. Anyway.
There was like heavy drinking involved, and so like it never happened on my part. That was it.
But it seems like, Patrick, it sounds like you were dating 2 women at one time.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that as long as you're telling everyone the truth. Lots of people date multiple people at the same time. So, yeah, it does sound that way. That is what he's saying. He's just lying by omission.
And you were not honest with me, like.
I'm pretty sure I told you what happened.
You don't, because
I'm pretty sure I told you. And she's like, no, you didn't. And that face, I'll rewind it, that face of being resigned that she has, that's demoralization. That's, I guess I'm just going to be over here with my feelings and you're going to deny them. Let's rewind that.
Patrick, it sounds like you were dating two women at one time.
Yeah.
and you were not honest with me, like.
I'm pretty sure
Yeah, you see that face and she's just like, oh, well, I guess this is my life now.
I told you what happened.
You don't, because if you say this, oh, you'll not come back to Brazil.
He's still smirking. Now, do I believe that he would cheat on her now, that he would cheat on Thaís now? I don't think so. I mean, it's possible. I don't think he has any greater likelihood than anyone else. So maybe for Thaís, she's like, well, that thing happened in the past and I don't like the way he minimizes and I don't like the fact that he lied by omission. I think he's completely lying to himself or me or something about that whole thing. But that was a long time ago. And I think he's different now, or we're definitely in a relationship now and he takes that seriously and I don't have worries that he's going to cheat on me. You know, you could say, you could hear someone coming to that conclusion.
When you were in Brazil, you sent her message.
Yeah, it was after one of the fights we got into.
I understand what you're saying as far as, hey, we wasn't committed, but it kind of sounds like you wanted to do some things with the other person, just that you were drunk
Yeah,
and
no,
things
I mean,
couldn't
I was
happen.
in the wrong.
Yeah.
100%. I was in the wrong. I'm just trying to explain myself.
Okay, so he does admit that he was in the wrong while still smirking, but he's saying that he was wrong. So then why don't you operate from that place and stop arguing the little details? It's like you don't have the timeline right. Well, who cares? You're still wrong, so just stick to that. Just like, well, you have the timeline a bit funny, but it's still wrong what I did, and you're right. I should have told you. Why keep minimizing?
I think when you get condescending, it becomes controlling because you're literally controlling the conversation. You're shutting it down immediately. He gets no opinion. He gets no say. And it's very American women.
Wait, what? Oh, that took a turn. Wow. I mean, I thought he was being a little harsh, but I think a lot of people would agree with what he's saying to Kara. And then he caps it off with, it's very American women. Yikes. Yikes. So is that why he dates people from other countries, similar to what George would do? Because he doesn't like women that have power, that stand up for themselves, that understand their rights. I would not be surprised if Patrick comes from an echo chamber that believes that feminism has ruined women in the United States and made them all into bossy B-words who are constantly trying to control their man and feel entitled by liberals and, other kinds of things. I wouldn't be surprised if Patrick comes from that manosphere echo chamber, or at least something akin to it. Because to say that all American women are controlling, I mean, I could see saying Kara has an issue. I could see someone saying Emily has an issue. And I could see him saying Ariella has an issue. But, 3 women don't represent the entire landscape of personalities in the United States. All right, well, that does it for that episode. Everyone out there, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.